Have you ever wondered what happens when you defy the very laws of the universe? What happens when you take absolute, infallible light, that pure spark of hope that saves entire worlds, and force it to collide with primordial, mind-shattering darkness? We are so used to dividing this world into simple categories of black and white, into flawless heroes and terrifying creepypasta monsters. But today, we are going to completely erase those boundaries. I decided to conduct an editing experiment in Photoshop that, to be completely honest with you, terrifies me. I am going to create the ultimate hybrid, a being that fuses four absolute opposites, four distinct, incredibly powerful entities: Silver the Hedgehog, the Herald of Salvation; Shadow the Hedgehog, the tragic anti-hero; Fleetway Super Sonic, the embodiment of uncontrollable chaotic madness; and the one whose name we usually only dare to whisper in the darkest corners of the internet, Sonic.exe, the very distortion of reality itself. This isn't just a simple photo bash or a basic mashup. This is a deliberate attempt to stare directly into the abyss and see what stares back. What kind of vibe will radiate from a creature woven from pure light and a cursed digital anomaly? Will good be able to contain the chaos within, or will this file become a literal portal for something genuinely sinister? You need to watch this until the very end, because what manifested on my screen in the final moments is just straight up OP. It is an absolute masterpiece that will completely flip your reality upside down. Everything begins with the foundation. I am importing a high-resolution render of Silver the Hedgehog and setting him as our base layer. Why Silver? Because he represents the concept of unyielding faith. Think about his deep lore for a second. Silver was born into a doomed timeline, a ruined world called Crisis City. He grew up in an environment where the sky is permanently choked with endless gray ash, where towering pillars of fire and molten lava are the only landscape he has ever known. His entire existence has been an exhausting, desperate war against a fiery deity known as the Iblis Trigger. Yet, despite living in literal hell, his soul remains completely untainted by despair. His telekinesis, that iconic glowing cyan energy field, is not fueled by rage or a thirst for vengeance. It is fueled by a pure, unadulterated desire to protect the innocent. By using Silver's posture and silhouette as the core of this edit, I am making sure our hybrid has a soul that desperately wants to save the world. But a savior needs a hardened core. He needs the weight of tragedy and the experience of profound loss to survive the darkness we are about to add. And this is exactly where Shadow steps into the frame. I am cutting out Shadow's iconic elements, like his swept-back quills, and pasting them directly onto our base. Let's talk about his lore. He is the ultimate lifeform, created 50 years ago on the space colony Ark by Professor Gerald Robotnik. Shadow was literally engineered to cure diseases and bring hope to humanity. Instead, the military raided the station, and he was forced to watch Maria, the only person who ever showed him true kindness, sacrifice her own life to save him. Those famous red stripes on his quills are not just an edgy design choice. They are like permanent bleeding scars on his soul that will never truly heal. I am carefully selecting his golden inhibitor rings and masking them onto the hybrid's wrists. These rings are literal locks on a devastating, world-ending amount of chaos energy. Shadow is the personification of profound loneliness and eternal struggle. That is some true anti-hero energy right there. He is the guy who does what must be done, carrying the burdens of the past, even if the entire universe hates him for it. And now, we completely break the system. We invite chaos into the file, Fleetway Super Sonic. I am extracting his unhinged, spiraling eyes from the classic comic panels and slapping them right over the character's face. This is not your standard, shiny gold transformation from the modern games. In the classic UK comics, absorbing too much energy from the Chaos Emeralds literally shattered Sonic's mind, splitting his personality and turning him into a sadistic, radioactive demon who laughs maniacally while destroying his own friends. He is the embodiment of infinite power, completely stripped of a moral compass. I am adjusting the color grading of our hybrid's aura, pushing the saturation until it becomes a toxic, burning, unstable yellow light. Fleetway injects our artwork with a spark of terrifying unpredictability. He enjoys the pain he causes. He turns the power scaling upside down and adds a layer of chaotic insanity that instantly makes you want to step back from the screen. Yet, inside every complex system, there is a fatal glitch, a digital virus. And now we are dragging in the most dangerous layer of them all, Sonic.exe. I am grabbing specific corrupted artifacts from his cursed sprite sheet. Listen, we are not using any cheap jump scares or buckets of hyper-realistic blood here. True fear does not need that. The truest, most paralyzing horror is the uncanny valley effect. It is that sinking feeling when you look at a nostalgic icon from 1991, but your brain screams that there is nothing but an empty, demonic void inside. I am using the warp tool to distort the smile, stretching it just a fraction wider than the pixels should ever allow, making the teeth just a little too sharp. And those eyes. I am dropping in those absolutely pitch black voids that literally scream, "I am God," letting them consume the sockets. Sonic.exe is not a physical monster. He is a psychological parasite that feeds on childhood dread. He is the complete distortion of what it means to be a hero, manipulating reality just to break your mind. I begin to merge the layers. I overlay the heavy shadows, add the digital glitch effects, and set the blending modes. And to be completely transparent with you, I am starting to feel deeply uncomfortable with what is staring back at me from my own monitor. Just look at this insane visual contrast. The glowing cyan telekinesis of Silver is desperately trying to hold back the black, glitching pixel artifacts of the EXE virus that are crawling up the hybrid's arms. The manic, spiraling smile of Fleetway is twisting and melting into the deeply unsettling dread of the digital anomaly. It honestly looks like the darkness is winning. It feels like the corrupted code and the chaotic madness have completely swallowed the pure hope of Silver and the iron will of Shadow. I am staring at this Photoshop canvas, and this overwhelming vibe of absolute hopelessness is giving me actual goosebumps. The shadow is consuming the layers. If you mix absolute good and absolute evil, is the darkness always destined to overwrite the file? Is the corruption just that much more contagious? Right at this moment, I genuinely wanted to close the software and delete the project. I wanted to leave it as a dark reminder that some digital abysses should never be opened. But then, I remembered why I started this exact edit in the first place. I created one final layer on top of everything. I selected a pure, unblemished shade of white, and I dropped just one single click, a tiny highlight, right in the dead center of those terrifying, empty black eyes. Look at what happens. In the depths of the bottomless void, a tiny but impossibly bright spark of cyan light ignites. Instantly, the entire atmosphere of the image shifts. The dark, glitching aura swirling around the character suddenly doesn't look threatening anymore. It looks tamed. The light is piercing through the shadows, scattering the darkness like dust in the wind. You see, the outer shell can be terrifying. It can be distorted by grief and trauma, just like Shadow. It can be bursting at the seams with chaotic energy, just like Fleetway. It can even carry a dark, corrupted code, like the EXE anomaly. But true strength is never found in destruction. Breaking things is incredibly easy. True strength, the absolute most base foundation of the soul, is the ability to fiercely guard your inner light when the world around you goes pitch black. Look at him now. This is not a monster. This is a being that has entirely conquered its own darkness. The spirits of Silver and Shadow inside him refused to surrender. They took the chaotic energy and the viral corruption, and they forged it into armor. They became a guardian capable of terrifying any evil that dares to approach. No matter how scary the world gets, no matter what kind of shadows gather in your own life, the choice always belongs to you. Darkness does not have the power to consume light. It only serves as a canvas to make the light shine brighter. Every single one of us carries our own demons, our own tragic flaws, and our own glitches in the code. But redemption is always real. Hope is always available to anyone brave enough to keep that spark alive. The light will always break through the static. Good always wins in the end, because only good has the power to build and create. If the deep lore of this hybrid and the journey of this edit sparks something inside of you today, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know down in the comments, when you look at this ultimate character, what do you see more of? The light or the darkness? Keep your inner spark shining. I will see you in the next one.